Breakfast kicks off your day.
From whatever's being talked about to what to be talked about.
All the facts you need.
And a little bit of fun.
Start your day with News Breakfast.
Weekday mornings from 6.
This video has been classified as PG. Parental guidance is recommended for people under 15 years.
This program contains animal treatment that may concern some viewers.
You see a pair of laughing eyes, and suddenly a sighing sighs. You're thinking nothing's wrong, you string along, boy, then snap. You're hooked, you're cooked, you're caught in the tender trap.
Australia, we're habitual gamblers. People will come and gamble every day. Playing just push button, 25 lines. They're here for entertainment.
The pokies. In just over 50 years, they've gone from being illegal to being everywhere. Over 200,000 machines are spread through our cities, suburbs and country towns. We keep playing and we keep losing. $12 billion a year.
Sometimes I just want to reach out to slot machine players and say, wake up, why are you playing this thing? It's stealing your money.
So what is it that keeps people playing? We'll go behind the bright lights and ask, is it us or the machine? You may think that people play the pokies. Chances of winning any other form of gambling. So are poker machines delivering something else?
Slot machines have been called the crack cocaine of gambling, electronic morphine.
I was in a haze for nearly 20 years.
Of gambling, electronic morphine.
With the help of modern neuroscience and a maths wizard, we ask, have designers created the perfect addiction machine?
With the help of modern neuroscience and a maths wizard, we ask, have designers created the perfect addiction machine?
Even the early poker or slot machines seem to exert a strange power to separate people from them. One-armed bandits. Invented in the USA, by the 1930s they were banned in every state there, except Nevada. There was one other place that declared them legal. In 1956, New South Wales, Australia. Community sporting clubs were given the exclusive right to operate pokies, and soon they were rolling in cash.
There's dancing several nights a week, and squash, golf, and snooker.
Many of these clubs have evolved into something entirely different. Many casinos dotted across our suburbs.
We've grown. We have approximately 7 restaurants, retail, conferencing and events. We do try to be a 5-star venue. Our furniture and fittings are all designer, and 332 gaming machines.
For decades, a New South Wales club was the only place in Australia you could play a poker machine. A place in Australia you could play a poker machine. And a Sydney-sider, Leansworth, became one of the largest poker manufacturers in the world.
What's the attraction of these things? Why do people play them and like them?
Well, you can win on a poker machine.
You can win on a poker machine?
Oh, yes, of course you can.
If you've got the metal.
You get back 90% of your stake owed, and if you happen to strike a winning run, you can be a long way ahead. But, of course, that's the time to withdraw.
So your advice to the player would be know when to stop?
Know when to stop.
Know when to stop?
Know when to stop, yes. I decided on politics, still working as a psychologist, and I so enjoyed influencing policy. We'd been lobbied as members of Parliament for years by
poker machine manufacturers wanting to bring them in. I was the government whip, so I ended up speaking on it in favour. Everyone felt great relief at the state not anymore.
The floodgate with poker machines going into pubs and clubs in every state except West Australia.
Over time, when we were playing rock and roll around the pubs, you'd see more and more poker machines coming into the hotels, funneling of people in, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Now, how much money you got to spend today? Let's have a look at it. Oh, that's terrific.
Rivers of money became addicted to the revenue. We'd become a poking nation.
No one was Mark Street's demanding the right to play poker machines. In fact, quite the opposite was the case. Right to play poker machines. In fact, quite the opposite was the case. Somewhere between 3/4 and 80% of the population think poker machines need to be rolled back.
When pokies came in, people who were in my church who didn't have any addiction problems suddenly were telling me stories of how they're spending far too much money. Some committed. I remember thinking, what is this?
The modern poker machines were a far cry from the early mechanical models. Transformed by the introduction of video screens and the computer chip, the reels had become virtual, keeping fantasy of spinning reels, but putting the odds and a toolkit of tricks with coins, notes, or even cashless tickets. They were much faster than any other type of gambling. Buttons let you bet every case to $10 a spin, or $1,200 in an hour. In other countries, such high-intensity machines went to casinos. Here, they were in the local pub.
In the early 90s, I would go to these big gaming at Vegas, and it was the Australians were really the kings of the floor. And it was aristocrat, and they really had the presence of aristocrats. Because sort of following around, they designed these incredibly complex machines where you don't really know if you're winning. These multi-line machines.
The kings of the floor.
And what's the secret of the company's success?
Oh,
I think building a better mousetrap.
They designed these incredibly complex machines where you don't really know if
My
you're
mum
winning.
called me
These
lucky
multi-line
all the
machines.
time. She said I was just the luckiest person ever.
And what's the secret of the company's success?
And so that sealed it for me. I was lucky.
Building a better mousetrap.
And I bought a house I lost. I was really, really a good mother. Then the divorce happened and it was all just over. It was all just over. Unfortunately, the pokies were there. And, you know, I could dress up and feel like I was going out. I had cigarettes, had a glass of wine. I put my legs, you know, there where the machine is, and I thought it was paradise. But this preoccupy took over everything, like everything. Before I knew it, I was sort of trapped in there. I haven't played now for 10 years, and I run the Pokies Anonymous group.
There's around 200,000 Australians who struggle with these machines. They're the backbone of the pokie industry, providing 60% of its profits. What's in these machines that can have such a hold on people? The industry in Australia is highly secretive. So we visited the slot machine Las Vegas.
Providing 60% of its profits. What's in these machines that can have such a hold on people? The industry in Australia is highly secretive. So we visited the slot machine Las Vegas.
Tucked away in the back streets, a slot machine creator was happy to talk.
I've been in the gaming business for about 25 years. We are the creators, kind of kids that never grew up. I'm 55 and I play at least 2 hours of extra.
Tucked away in the
So in this case, this game that we're seeing here is titled Super Chicken for bars and taverns along Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. And behind, very near Chesapeake Beach, it's kind of a rural farm area. So we came up with an idea to create a game based on a chicken, a super chicken. It's not Superman, it's not a super chicken. And basically it's got a lot of plucking, it's got a lot of, the bonuses are based on the hatching of baby chicks. There needs to be something that pulls them to the machine. And that's what the graphics are.
A super chicken. It's not a chicken, it's super chicken. And basically it's got
they're animated now. They'll actually put their arms out and things and make sounds like all these really amazing sounds, and the game will just be sitting back going, oh, this is incredible. This is incredible.
Like there's the Arabian Steeds, there's Pyramid. You know, those childs so adventurous that we read. They appeal to the child, inner child, inner child.
I started that and I ended up here in Vegas 3 years ago. I tend to think of the games as like little movies, little stories. It is kind of like a film in that you have this, you just have one scene though that kind of plays over and over again. I really, like a strong character in a game, a strong pair of eyes. In that moment where you're kind of deciding which game you're going to play, like character staring right at you, it might make you stop for just that moment. So it's like the latest and greatest from our studio. It's got a really nice kind of Australian desertography and Queensland Blue catalogue, and it's got that Lonely Man on the Desert Road kind of vibe to it.
When I was 17, a friend of mine took me down to the local RSL club. Didn't really think anything of it. I just went in and put a couple of dollars in, and the first time I ever played them, got a feature.
Whenever the card comes across like that, it means that something good's going to happen soon. Comes through and smashes through the screen.
Lights, good, everything was happy. And the money sort of started going up and up. And it's just like a do, like shouting out at you that there's money on the way.
I composed music for poker machines and did that for about 5 years. You want to keep the player's attention on the machine. You don't want them to become too mindful and start thinking about things at home and maybe negative things are happening in their life. Obviously some people have the problems with gambling, there might be guilt associated with it or whatnot. You could read with some positive music that is more of an escape from.
Thinking about things at home and maybe negative things are happening.
Everything's in major key, so happy sounding. If you lose, there'll be no sound because you don't want to reinforce that you've lost. So there won't be a pipper or... The winning sounds, coins, people cheering at the end. They feel good about what they've done and they keep plugging away.
The winning sounds.
In the century, Russian scientist Ivan Pavlov discovered something extraordinary. If you played a metronome or bell every time you fed a dog, loan would make the animal salivate.
In the 19th century, Russian
associates reward with a particular sound, and poker machines do exactly the same thing. And if you put a big poker machine venue where there are hundreds of machines, bells and whistles go off all the time. And this partly explains why big venues make much more money per machine than small venues. Reinforcement is almost constant.
Exactly the same thing. If you look at a big poker machine venue where there are hundreds of machines.
In Ontario, Canada, Dr. Kevin Harrigan has pioneered research into biological responses.
There's clean heart rate,
These electrodes, they're distorting your finger sweat, which allows us to get a measure of how excited you are.
In Ontario, Canada.
First thing that popped out at us was so the machine is constantly emitting positive sounds. Even when you put a $20 bill in the machine, it almost sounds like you win. It goes ta-da! Machine. It almost sounds like you win. It goes ta-da! You know, incredibly, you're winning something in almost every second spin. If the manufacturer did that too much, then the manufacturer would lose money. So the question arises, how do they manage to give so many wins? And that is through what we call losses disguised as wins. So many of your wins on modern slot machines are in fact net losses. So you wager $1 and win back 30 cents. So you have a net loss of 70 cents. But the machine celebrates that 30-cent win with graphics. And that was a big win.
That was a loss disguised as a win. That's the elevated response for that.
Interestingly, we find if you get the bodily reaction, that is telling you that you're winning a lot.
These machines work on even deeper levels of our brain. In the 1950s, an American psychologist, B.F. Skinner, observed animal behaviour to try and understand human. He trained a rat to press a lever for food pellets. If it received them at regular intervals, it would only press when hungry. But if the food was given randomly, if the rat never knew when it was coming, it would press the lever again and again and again. It worked on pigeons, and it worked on humans too.
There is a good example of how you can move from the pigeon to the human case. One of the schedules is very effective is a variable ratio schedule, and that is at part of all gambling devices.
In Skinner's day, rewards were decided by where the mechanical reels stopped. But since virtual reels took over, where the reels stopped is in the hands of designers.
If we took the Super Chicken game as the player will see it and superimpose the math over it, this is actually the game being played. I could remove the graphics, remove the sound, and allow a player to play an Excel spreadsheet and the same, except it's not going to be fun. We don't share math. The heart of a game is math. And that's our product. Heart of a game is math. And that's our product.
Remove the graphics, remove the sound, and allow a player to play an Excel spreadsheet.
No matter what your job is, whether it be designing slot machines or cutting grass, I really think you should take pride in what you do and do the best job possible. My name is Mike Shackelford, but I'm more commonly as Wizard of Oz.
Job is whether it be designing slot machines or
the big slot machine companies, very small number of people that freelance like me. I am looking at a game that I titled Golden Chariots. It's my understanding that Marcus the client reskinned it to a game called Super Chicken. But the
big slot machine companies, very small number of people that freelance like me,
is not important to me. It's the actual math and the design of the game.
It's my understanding that
There's the reel strips, the way 28 for each reel. There's 128 to the 5th power ways that the reels could stop. Let's say that the random number for reel 2 is 65. It will stop with the bonus symbol in the middle with a harp above it and a helmet below it. If you get at least 3 bonus symbols, you spins.
let's say that
The mathematician rewards the player enough to keep them playing, while making sure the machine comes out ahead, according to a calculation called the return percentage.
Slot machines are set to only return about 90% of your money, so with every bet you make, you're giving 10% to the house, which is a lot. And of course, in the short run, anything could happen. You could lose a lot more, or you could win a lot more. But the way the laws of mathematics are, over the long, the closer it will get to this return percentage. How do slot machines compare to other forms of gambling? Other forms generally are much better. The best are craps, blackjack, and video poker.
The house take on most casino games is an average of 1 to 2%, but on poker machines, it's around 10 to 13%. It's around 10 to 13%.
When I design a slot machine, one question I always ask if I'm not directly told is what return percentage do you want this game set to? And usually they give me a number, say 93%, but sometimes they're not sure, and I will have to consult with them a little bit and say, well, do you want to shear the sheep? And if they say, we want to slaughter it, then I might say, okay, well, let's set it to 85%. No, and if they say, no, we just want to shear the sheep and keep them coming back, then I'll say, well, how about 95% or even 97%? And in Australia, they're all pretty much set to 92%, and that's just awful. I have such beef with the people that play them because I know what an awful bet they are because I just answer these games. I mean, I'm sorry, but they're just a lousy bet.
Although it's the highest house take by far, if a player only lost 10% of their money when playing poker machine, it would not be ruinous. Please, if you keep playing, you lose all your money. Let's say you put in $100. Even after wins along the way, the machine is eventually programmed to return you $90. You've now got $90, and the machine is programmed to return you 90% of that, $81. With $81, you'll end up with $73, and so on, until you've lost your last dollar.
The house will win. The more I play, over time, the less. If I go out today and play, I may win. If I play every day, I will lose. There's no chance. It's just built that way.
I wouldn't be able to tell you how much money I've lost. I'd say easily over $100,000. Easily. And I did the figure it'd probably be even bigger.
You can't get away when you win. Even if I had $1,000 in a machine, I couldn't take half of it out and go and do some shopping or anything, or put some petrol in my car. I'd sit there until it was all gone. I would play for as long as I could.
Something that really surprised me early on in my research is this thing I kept hearing from the gamblers, which was so strange, but sometimes when I win a jackpot, I get really tense, I get irritated, and I said, why? How do you make sense of that? And they said, well, because the real reason that I'm sitting there is to just keep playing. The real reason that I'm sitting there is to just keep playing.
Sometimes when I win a jackpot, I get really tense, frustrated, I get irritated.
In the 1950s, researchers James Olds and Peter Milner inserted an electrode into a region of a rat's brain that was subsequently dubbed the pleasure center. Rats could self-administer an electrical current to the region by pressing a lever.
In the 1950s, researchers James Olds
the sensation was so
inserted an
the rat ignored food and drink and kept pressing the lever until it died of exhaustion. Until this experiment, no one had imagined that stimulating a part of the could override the will to live.
The sensation was so
it would be decades before we understood the powerful brain chemical driving this behaviour.
Until this experiment, no one had imagined that stimulating a part of the brain could override the will to live.
In the early 90s, Wolfram Schultz made key discoveries about dopamine.
I don't see much of a difference between human brains. Human behavior is simply the expression of what we need to do in order to survive.
In the early 90s, Wolfram Schultz made key discoveries about
Measuring dopamine in monkeys, Wolfram's team had a revelation.
We were sitting around the laboratory, we had it in front of the animal, and we showed an apple, and suddenly the neurons were going wild.
The feel-good chemical dopamine was signalling a reward to the brain.
Wolfram's team had a revelation.
But when the monkey realised the treat was on its way, the dopamine neurons stopped firing.
If they knew the reward was coming, nothing happened. But when we gave the reward, suddenly, without any prediction, the dopamine neurons went totally ballistic.
The key is surprise. The key is surprise. And just as with Skinner's rats, unpredictability. With poker machines, our dopamine neurons struggle to predict reward, to find the pattern, to decode the logic of luck.
And just as with Skinner's rats,
In people's very nature to just look for things occurring in a certain order. I think one of the things that happens with slot machines, it is random and truly random, but there does appear to be patterns that show up.
I tell myself I'm not going to have any chance of winning until I watch the ever. Sometimes I used to have to wait 20, 30, 40 spins, I'll be going like... So there's all this mental stuff going on, like, okay, so now I've got that, I'm like... So there's all this mental stuff going on, like, okay, so now I've got that. Yeah, I must be a bit, I can't be too far off.
When I play a slot machine, I will probably use my human innate tendency to try to figure out a pattern. There is no pattern in slot machines, and the dopamine neurons will be more active the less of a pattern there is the release of dopamine neurons. So you stimulate the dopamine neurons, you're already halfway into the direction of addiction.
tendency to try to figure out a pattern. There's no pattern in slot machines.
Some people have a hard time grasping that a machine could be addictive. They associate addiction with substances that are inhaled or put into the body. Most contemporary neuroscientists can tell you things like gambling and these process addictions are being taken as a pure form of addiction because they show us a direct window into the chemical changes happening in the brain.
With substances that are inhaled or put into the fact
Yeah, I had no idea that I could get hooked to start with when I first started playing. I just thought it was a thing that you could do, just go in and play them. Like I'd seen them when I was running around as a little kid and never thought anything of them. And I don't know why I liked it.
Some people are more prone for addiction than other people are, just like as there are people with blue eyes and grey eyes. And that's just a natural variation in the color of the eyes. Some individuals more dopamine, or they have more postsynaptic neurons of dopamine, or they have a stronger learning mechanism that could explain why they get addicted.
You go back again the next day because you need that feeling again. I know sometimes I was so desperate to put that first dollar in. You'd be shaking until you got that money into there and then it would start.
Learning mechanism that could explain why they get addicted. You go back again the next day because
It was the MRI that finally allowed us to look deep inside the brain to the nucleus accumbens, where dopamine is produced.
that money into there and then it would start.
We wanted to see the reward system in humans, given that it had been heavily implicated animals as being fundamental for their kind of addiction-like behavior.
Accumbens, where dopamine was produced.
See dopamine in Agner. Hans and his team devised an experiment where cocaine was given to an addict.
Dot of yellow. That is right on the nucleus accumbens.
Dopamine was not just released when the cocaine reached the brain.
We saw the nucleus accumbens, this core reward system, turning on through anticipation.
It was stimulated not just by an unexpected reward, but also by the anticipation of it.
Was not just released
The question arose, what are the system turn on in a game of chance?
In the next experiment they devised, subjects gambled on the spinner.
And none of us predicted that cocaine addicts anticipating a cocaine infusion, the control subjects anticipating a monetary win. So anticipation is actually really fundamental to your experience of reward. What you are doing when you have a slot machine is actually kind of repetitively going through this experience of anticipation. You're like a rat that's sitting there key pressing to get a little jolt of electricity in your reward system.
Is actually really fundamental to your experience of reward. What you are doing
This dopamine that gets released in the anticipation stage of the game has been incorporated into the design of the machines.
So when we started to look at the slot machines, we really got a bit lucky, I think. We were able to get some design documents. The first thing that we saw just floored us is what people commonly call a near miss. The jackpot symbol, and then the jackpot symbol just above or below the pay line. So you're seeing it the first reel, good. You're seeing it on the second reel, good. And then, didn't see it on the third reel. It gets those, it's like, oh, shucks.
I'm silly for gambling, but I'm not silly when it comes to certain things. Like, I see the sequences that come up on these things all the time, and it's always one missing here, one missing here, one missing where you need it, or it's always like that, always.
The manufacturers create near misses up to 12 times more often than it would happen by chance alone. In other games, you couldn't weight things like that. If you go dice game, then the dice will be fair. If you go to card game, there has to be 13 and 4 suits. Who sat around a boardroom table and said, we're going to allow these things to happen?
I think near misses and all the games that I design, unless I'm specifically told not to, have independent reels. Sometimes I get asked by a client to just do something that I think is a little unethical, and I'll try to talk them out of it, but at the end of the day, if the client insists to do something a certain way, I'll do it.
Unless I'm specifically told not to have independent reels. Sometimes I get asked by a client to just do something that I think is a little unethical, and I'll try to talk about it, but at the end of the day,
developed mental. She was very, very clever. She had fantastic jobs, big money, used to go overseas a lot. I used to drive my granddaughter to school, and then coming home, I saw one day outside the hotel, free breakfast. So I took to going in there. And then I saw all the poker machines, and I thought, oh yes, these are these things we brought in. Banks of them.
I used to drive my granddaughter.
And I'd sort of look at these things, and these poor people, I thought, what are they doing? Why would bother there inanely at night and putting money into these things? It looks like the most tedious thing in the world. And then this day I thought, I'll just see why do they do it? Day I thought, I'll just see why do they do it? And I put my fully, it went from there.
It looks like the most tedious thing in the world.
In the following year my daughter took her own life. She had discharged herself and said she wouldn't do anything to herself, but I went there and actually, she was hanging in the gate, and for years it would just appear, the image would just appear in front of me. And I discovered that the pokies soothed me.
I went there and actually
comforted,
she was
soothed.
And for years, it would just appear, the image.
It was a place where you could just get lost in that world where nothing else mattered. Nothing else mattered. It was like a hypnotism. 10, 9, 8, and you get down there, and after you've pressed that button a few times, you're there. You're in that zone.
Nothing else mattered. It was like a hypnotism. 10, 9, 8, and you get down there, and button a few times,
You think perhaps press, perhaps this time, press, perhaps this time, press. Well, winds come up, okay. That's not important. You press it. It is solitary, like what I've read of opium dens where people are lying on little mattresses, smoking opium. And they're alone, they're being soothed and comforted.
That's not important.
They're just designed to keep things, flowing. So there'll be a bit of a gallop to the, there's a certain timing to the reel spin and how much they bounce.
They're being soothed and comforted.
It's all sort of flow going and being tied to this thing that maybe not necessarily alive, but it's quite vibrant.
There's a certain timing to the reel spin and how much they bounce.
One designer said, we want to design MAF so that you recline on it like a comfortable couch.
Maybe not necessarily alive.
Another designer told me people want to be bled slowly. Designers are designing for
MAF so that you recline on it like a comfortable couch.
By putting my dollar in those machines, I consented to playing. I didn't consent to unlawful hypnotism.
Designers are designing.
By putting my dollar in those machines, I consented to playing. I didn't consent to unlawful hypnotism.
And you don't wake up until you look in your purse and there's not enough there to get another dollar. The panic sets in. The house payment was overdue. Electricity was going to get cut off, and there was no food for the boys.
You don't wake up until
You try to sneak out without everyone noticing, but no.
There's not enough there to get another dollar.
The walk of shame, I used to call it.
Sets in. The house payment was overdue.
Next day, the no food,
Electricity was going to get
and also
cut
the
off.
anything like the no TV or anything like that. I mean, that was all in there. Didn't know anything.
I've just hurt my family so much. And the financial thing, I've got nothing to leave them.
So I kept hearing this phrase, playing to extinction, and I came to understand that what that meant was playing to that point where you've lost all of your funds to gamble, and so reach.
I kept hearing this phrase, playing to extinction,
the venue.
and I came to understand that what that meant
I remember
was playing to
driving
that point
down the road with the sole
you've
intention
lost all of your
just
your
killing
funds
myself.
to gamble and
But
to reach.
I found myself holding up a store. I used a knife, and before I knew it, the police were there. The judge, I do remember him saying, "You don't look like the criminal type," to me. So the clerk of the court lady, she said to me, "I know what it's like." She said, "I've got a gambling problem too."
There's 200,000 machines in this poker nation, and it's the poorest community who have the most machines and lose the most money.
So this is one of the fastest growing parts of Australia, and it's a fairly disadvantaged municipality overall. There's not a whole lot of pubs and bars, and all of the pubs that do exist have these poker machines.
So this is one of the fastest growing parts of Australia, and it's a fairly disadvantaged municipality overall.
So we're just coming up to the Player Hotel. Over $50,000 is lost there every day. There it is now. $1,000 is lost there every day. There it is now. Every machine in the place makes over $2,000 a year. It makes life very difficult for all the other local businesses there.
Over $50,000.
Every one of them could do with a bit of that $18 million spent in their business.
Is lost there every day. There it is now. Every machine in the place makes over $200,000.
It's a real crucible, it's a real melting pot. English is not the first language, low socio-eco, so many of the people out here struggle.
Could do with a bit of that was spent in their business.
They walk a little taller. They get called sir, they get called madam, and they get treated with courtesy and respect. The furniture and fittings here at the club are not what many of the people could afford in this area. We bring it to the people. It won't cost them anything to come to our club and be a part of the 5-star offerings that we do give.
Sir, they get called madam, and they get treated with dignity, courtesy and respect. The furniture and fittings here at the club are not what many of the people
Over the
could
pub
afford in this
with an
area.
idea of what
How
wanted
we
to
bring
be,
it to the
which is a,
It won't
with an
cost them
idea of
anything
what
to come
wanted
to
to
our
be,
club
which is a
and
public
be a part
house.
of the
You can take the
5-star
family,
offerings
take the
that we do
dog,
give.
take the kids. Everybody's going to come in, and it's an extension of the community. The pokie machine is the evil genius, or the person who created the pokie machine.
Which is with an idea of what we want it to be, which is a public
If you went to a small bar and you said to them, there's $100,000 a year for...
and it's an extension of
It's a tough thing to not want to do. The business is addicted to machines. The business is addicted to poker machines.
Well, look, gaming represents a significant amount of revenue. Whilst we are a non-for-profit organisation, we still have to run at a profit.
At Fairfield RSL, about $36 million of its $39 million annual turnover comes from poker machines.
From my perspective, the more money that we can generate through gaming, the more money back into the asset and benefit the members.
There's $12 billion in losses. There's $12 billion in losses that pour through these machines annually to the gambling industry, and around half of it to players. That money goes to clubs,
There's $12 billion in losses.
to pubs, to casinos, to companies like Woolworths and Coles, who together own 15,000 machines. But governments are the biggest addicts of all, relying on pokey taxes for 5 to 8% of their state-raised revenue.
I've got to pay for the schools and hospitals with the revenue wherever I get it from, and gaming is part of that.
Every premier who actually started out against poker was one, has taken a treasury and shown there will be so much more revenue, easy revenue.
I now declare it open.
This is just political gold. It is pain-free. This is just a ruthless transfer of wealth from the poorest postcodes to the gaming industry and to the government.
Matthew, hi. Matthew,
I came into politics in 2004 to a seat where clubs were well established. Before the election, I went to a Meet the Candidates event, which included representatives of clubs and hotels, and one came over to me and forward to supporting you, handed over an envelope, which I unthinkingly took. I thought it might be literature or something like that, but it was a cheque, and I gave it back. But it was clear to me that the connection between hotels and politics was quite an intimate one.
Government and industry run a joint policy which takes focus off the machine and say it's up to the individual to gamble responsibly.
We all do more to help those with a terrible affliction. It damages them and their families, and we understand that.
Government and industry
Well, we think that it's a human problem that needs a human solution.
and say it's up to the individual to gamble
I
responsibly.
would think I'm the only stupid person in the world. Why can't I stop when I'd be waiting for the doors to open at 9 o'clock in the morning, which is late now.
A human solution.
But There were other people there with me, and
It's the whole discussion of responsible gambling. I mean, you hear that, and if you don't know a lot about it and what's behind it, you think, great, who's against responsibility? Great. But you have to understand that it's a concerted public relations campaign, appearing to be responsible for the customer base and also putting responsibility on the customers and off of the products. As long as I put little signs about the toll-free numbers to call if you have a problem, then I'm good, right? And it's all on the gamblers. And what isn't then done is any attention paid to how the machines work. That whole conversation can be shut down.
The toll-free numbers to call if you have a
There's very strict guidelines around the way we serve people with alcohol. Intoxicated, you have to ask them to leave, otherwise you get a whopping great fine. For somebody to be excluded from gaming from my venue, they have to fill out a form, send it away with a photo, and that photo comes to me. But until that point, they're free to gamble till their heart's content and their wallets are empty.
Not irresponsible by nature. I went through a massive crisis by nature. I went through a massive crisis. It's not, I have to take that. We all do. But those machines are so powerfully built that they're built for addiction.
The DSM has been the Bible of psychiatric medicine for over 60 years. In its latest edition, published after 10 years' research, gambling disorder was moved into the substance abuse chapter. It was the first time in the DSM's history a non-substance was listed alongside nicotine, heroin.
Published after 10 years' research.
There is some evidence there are withdrawal symptoms from gambling disorders, similar withdrawal symptoms from some substance use disorders. Often people with gambling disorders make repeated but unsuccessful attempts to reduce their gambling. They keep failing at that, and they keep ending up back at the pokie machines.
Gambling disorders, similar you see with withdrawal symptoms from some substance
As the weight of
use
evidence
disorders.
was stacking up, a major independent report recommended changing the machine so that the maximum bet on a poker machine should be reduced from $10 to $1. That the amount of cash players can feed into machines at any one time be reduced from 10,000, and that with high-intensity games, people should pre-commit to how much money they want to spend before playing. For the first time in Australian history, it looked like the federal government was going to step in, proposing legislation to minimise poker machine harm.
Majority of people in my electorate wanted some form of change. The new ones were much better designed. They were able to suck money out of people much more easily. I didn't want to ban poker machines, but I just didn't want to see people as social wreckage as a consequence of their use of poker machines. Let's find that middle way. But in my electorate's point of view, this meant war. And they basically declared war on the reforms, and then they declared war on me.
But I just didn't want to see people as social wreckage.
This is about telling MPs at the local level that there is a real consequence locally of killing your club. MPs at the local level that there is a real consequence locally of killing your club.
The club's bussed in about 400 members and staff to kickstart a series of rallies targeting marginal seats.
Of all the lobbying I've seen over 17 years of public life, I think the gaming industries do it best.
The club operates similarly. A group like the National Ration in the United States.
The job now is to get all of our clubsters and coasters. Ultimately, we will spend what we need to.
They cleverly turned it into a debate about something else.
Sure enough, it came from clubs. I guess what surprised me was the casinos coming out to play. James Packer was like silk.
but he still had that sting in the tail in my policy.
Why would you, as a government, be proposing a policy without having the valid idea whether it would work?
There is a long tradition of politicians and staffers ending up as lobbyists on behalf of the gaming industry. These people have enormous connections into government. They know everyone.
Casino.
These people have enormous connections into government. They know everyone.
Casinos, pubs and clubs aren't just lobbying the Labor Party and the Liberal National Party. They are embedded in the Labor Party and the Liberal National Party.
For a proper government and not a couple of kids like that.
The hysteria that was whipped up just gave you insight into how difficult it is to make the change. These people who were making all the money and alongside that seeing the human misery that came with it dug their heels in and said no, and then fought like fury, and unfortunately, for the time, they actually won.
The federal government buckled and then collapsed.
When you think of the protecting this machine, this is a political failure, and the spread of pokies by people protecting a tree addictive product.
I'm trying to stay out of the hotels.
Protecting this machine. This is
I can honestly say they've destroyed my life, and I just really want it back. You know, I just really want it back. You know, I think to myself, gosh, you're 45. You know, 20 years of who does that?
They've destroyed my life, and I just really want it back. I just really want it back, you know. I think to myself, gosh, you're 45, you know. 20 years of who does that?